Hey guys, what is up, and welcome back to Sundari Broadcast Systems. Today we're going to be talking about Bad Batch Season 2, Episodes 3 and 4. I do apologize that we weren't here last week, and there was a last-minute change in my work schedule, so I couldn't be here. Without further ado, let's get right into the topic at hand.
Alrighty.
Dom, kick us off.
Alright, so we get to episode 3 of season 2 of Bad Batch. We finally get to see Crosshair after this time skip of his daily life, as I will say, during in the Empire. He is called in. He's called into. Oh, I just learned his freaking name again, and I always forget him. The guy who shot Captain Wilco.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either. I'm terrible with names.
He gets called into work. He gets called in by him and assigns him to a mission on. I am not forgetting the planet, but there was on a planet that was rebelling against the new governor that was coming in from the Empire. And apparently the person leading that rebellion was the former governor. So Crosshair was set on a mission to go to that planet to settle that dispute and get him back, get the new governor that was being held hostage back to safety. With the assistance of an old friend, Commander Cody, in totally different armor.
Same armor, different color.
Same armor, different color, I will say, yes.
Which, seeing him in gray was kind of weird.
It was. However, it's still it's still the same Cody.
Yeah.
Another reason why why I say this show is great. It's like, yeah. It was seeing Cody. What was your reactions when seeing Cody?
I kind of knew it was Cody before he took the helmet off.
Yeah,
I looked at him like, that looks familiar. But could it be Cody? I don't know if they put Cody this early. Oh shit, it is Cody.
I mean, with how like season 1 with the episode pattern of how season 1 went, I mean, I would bound to happen is not the right term, but it's just it fits the mold, I will say.
Yeah.
What building were they at? Because I saw there was clone trooper statues. There's this giant that they were by a mural of something of ancient text.
So that was the Coruscant barracks.
Oh yeah.
And that, so yes, there were the statues, but that the sculpture you see behind them that they talk in front of it, both beginning and end of the episode, that is actually sorry, my cat is digging into my leg. Is a monument to all the fallen clones during the first battle of Geonosis.
That's that piece. I knew of it. I couldn't remember where it was placed. Oh, it was that one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, man, that has so much more meaning now.
Yep. But like it was nice to see like that they like I like seeing the fact that there were like planets that weren't like officially rebellion, but they were rebelling against the Empire because they didn't want to be part of the Empire. They wanted to be left alone.
Weren't they a former separatist?
They were.
No, hold on. Yes, they were. They were.
They were a former separatist planet, and the governor of that planet was actually a former separatist senator.
That's right. Yeah.
That was a friend of Senator Batari, something like that.
I can't think of who that is at the moment. I gotta catch up on my separatist senators.
Well, we really don't learn a lot of their names.
That's true.
Senator Bonteri.
Bonteri. And which is that one again?
That was the one from the Clone Wars that was Padme's friend. That Dooku had assassinated after she proposed a peace treaty.
Ah. What species?
Human.
Human. I think I know what you're talking about. I'm blanking on what he looks like at the moment.
She.
Sorry. But that's awesome.
But it was nice to see that, and then it basically turned into like one last Clone Wars battle because it was the Separatist droid garrison versus the clones.
It was
like it's like if you need to get somebody unstuck from a droid holdout, send the clones. They're the best there are at destroying droids.
It's a nice cherry top to it. It's feeling like a Clone Wars episode. It's my favorite moment. Like I love how we get to see more of Crosshair in action. We get to see Cody back and how he works. Was that all that knife as well? Was that like I know there were. No, wait, I don't know why I'm thinking of the knife. My favorite moment from that episode was the droid in the tank. It was just like they fire, and then one of them goes, "Nice shot!" and just
that was great. But going back to the knife is actually new to Cody's arsenal.
Yes, because that's the same type of knife that Hunter has.
I think, but it also might just be a regular vibro blade. Because in animation, they really don't show the vibro blade vibrating because vibro blades vibrate at such a frequency they can actually make contact with lightsabers and not get cut through. Huh? But obviously in The Mandalorian Season 1, we see Din pull out a vibro blade, but they have to animate it to where it actually looks like it's a vibrating blade.
Interesting. That's awesome. It was interesting.
Yeah, and I like one thing. This kind of tickled my brain, and I liked it. When they made entry into the city, you saw the clones use more like actual military tactics.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like how a lot of their stuff was, where it was just go. It was like they actually like. When they made entry into the doorway, they cleared corners, they cleared the room, and they moved in, pushing through, taking that room forcefully, or that courtyard, or whatever.
I'm going. Here's a. This is going to be a hot take because that I know a lot of people are going to yell at me at, but this is just how I feel. It felt more real without a Jedi general.
Yeah, and see, like that. I love Jedi, I love Sith, like I love seeing Force users in Star Wars, but you don't need them to make it Star Wars, and that's why I like Andor and The Mandalorian, because you see just like regular people being able to do like these extraordinary things.
Exactly. It's like. I had a thought. It's just there's no need like with we have a general like Anakin. His being his general, it's just gonna either any of his missions are gonna have to deal in a big battle. Are gonna have to deal with either flying, crashing, lightsaber fight, or just banter with Obi-Wan. But this is just with the clones.
Yeah, it was very like cut down. It was very professional and. Like all those years of training and battlefield experience just took over. My only thing that I kind of questioned about their like loadout choice when they were going in was why they brought flamethrowers to fight droids. Like it was effective, but it's kind of a weird choice.
Would they still be didn't they take camp after oh yeah, we forgot to mention the former governor does get assassinated.
That's
We're gonna gloss over
That happens later in the episode.
Yeah, we're just gonna gloss over that. But you would think, because like after in that at the end of that episode, they did make camp, and
No, they as soon as they rescued the governor, they had reinforcements show up, and the clones left while TK troopers came in to take over. So they weren't even there. Like they were there just to execute the mission, and they left.
Yeah, why would you bring flamethrowers?
Like it was effective. Don't get me wrong, because like fire is slow moving, so it's able to creep through a Droideca's shields, but kind of a weird choice to fight droids.
Yeah, we get to see Droidecas again. I really like their movements now.
Mm-hmm. It was nice, and then you actually like you could actually feel kind of like the terror, like oh shit, Droidecas are back, like because like by the end of the Clone Wars, it's just like oh, it's just another droid.
It's just another droid. It's hard to see a side to root for in that episode as well, because it's you got like either hard to pick a side. It is just a battle because it's like
you got your boys that are the clones, but then you get the people that are in the right as the separatists. Like
the activating the I'm forgetting the names. The new the what are the droids called that are more flexible, more commando droids? The new commando droids, seeing them activate similar to how I don't know. This is just classic like robots turning on, robots activating, but it just reminded me of like the Dark Troopers didn't.
Mm-hmm. But like going off the talking about commando droids, is they don't like they're the most advanced droids that there are in the Separatist army. They don't need a centralized intelligence to function. So technically, taking out the tactical droid wouldn't have done anything. They just would have lost a link to like better tactics. But they're free thinking and super advanced droids.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was kind of weird that there was like, yeah, take out the tactical droid and we'll take out all the droids that way. Granted, Crosshair pulls some Crosshair level shit out of his ass and just bounces a fucking shot through all the droids' heads. Just like, what?
Internet lagged and you were being weird. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I could not understand a thing you were saying at that moment. You were talking about. I remember you were talking about with their leading droid being gone, it wouldn't have mattered. They would have still continued. The commando droids were still operating.
So commando droids don't need like an uplink to like a centralized computer. They have like their own independent computers. The only thing that the uplink to the tactical droid would have given them is like more real time tactical data on the bigger battle to where they could prepare better. But they like the whole thought process of taking out the tactical droid, taking out all the droids isn't exactly true. So it wouldn't really have made a difference, but then Crosshair pulled some Crosshair level bullshit out and just bounced a shot to take out all the droids.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I kind of like seeing Crosshair get his shit wrecked.
It's very interesting. And I also reminded myself, someone else reminded me the other day, because they watched the first season of Bad Batch, completely forgot that it was literally Crosshair's choice to join the Empire.
Well, not at first.
Not at first.
He did comply with the inhibitor chip, but he did get his removed and just made the choice to stay. Because as he says, I'm a soldier. He doesn't know how he would be able to make a life outside of being a soldier. So that's why he chose to stay.
You can still, like, within his eyes, whenever he's just in his room alone, you can see like the turmoil whenever he just sits down or lays down. He just has time to himself. Because like, especially with Cody like added to that as well.
Yeah. But like It, not be like I didn't go and rewatch the episode before coming on here, so like I'm having to rack my brain to remember the stuff that happened during the episode. But one thing that we see in the episode that we've seen in a lot of episodes since Order 66 is the clones that don't get called by their names anymore. They're literally treated like droids, and they get called by their designation numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And that when Crosshair brings up to what's his face, Commander Cody, he's like, Commander Cody. He's like very confused of who Commander Cody is, because he only knows him as CT ... I
think 3332.
I don't know. I don't know Cody's designation.
Searching it up now.
I know him by his name.
$2224.
2224. But I like the twist because in Legends, Cody stayed with the Empire. Like he also this Legends adaptation of Cody, there was no inhibitor chip. It was just an order that they knew, and when it came time, they executed it. They were in full like conscious choice to follow the order.
Mm-hmm.
But he stayed with the Empire, remained on Kamino, and trained some clone troopers, but also trained the stormtroopers, where he grew to kind of despise stormtroopers because they weren't as good as clones. And he was there when Galen Merrick, aka Starkiller, broke out of Kamino and was punished severely by Vader. But that is Legends.
Mm-hmm. I think it's Vice Admiral Rampart.
Of course, he'd have some pompous name like Rampart.
Yeah, he says schedule. Of course.
Schedule.
To make him more pompous, he has a pompous English accent.
The only thing that'll make him more pompous than a douchebag is we see him eating an apple one episode.
His hobby is literally serving the Galactic Empire, according to the Villains Wiki. Goals replaced all the clone troopers with stormtroopers in the Imperial Army, and in parentheses, mostly succeeded.
Jesus Christ. Pompous asshole.
Crimes: abuse of power, evasion, murder, corruption, attempted genocide, conspiracy, terrorism, incrimination, ordered assassinations, false imprisonment, destruction of public property. He is the type of villain he is an arrogant jingoist.
What?
I don't know what that means. What is what is a jingoist? Search what? Jingoism is nationalism in the form of aggression of aggressive and proactive foreign policy, such as a country's advocacy for the use of threats or actual force, as opposed to peaceful relations in efforts to safeguard what it perceives as its natural interests. I see. So that's what. So yeah, he's an arrogant nationalist.
Jingoist.
Jingoist.
Jingoist. This just makes him sound even more pompous. So what's your political beliefs? I'm a jingoist.
I'm a jingoist.
A what?
Oh, you learn something new every day, everybody.
Especially on this podcast.
Yep.
It was kind of it was refreshing to see that Cody it obviously was diverting from the Empire, and we see that come really full circle towards the end of the episode when the governor just immediately after Cody negotiates peace with the actual governor of the planet, says executor, and he's like, "What?"
So
He's like, "I just
I just
guaranteed
handled it.
I resolved this peacefully and promised her safety.
No one needed
You
to
did.
die.
I didn't. Kill her." What?
You
Like,
can
I
see-
saw that coming from a mile away because it's the Empire.
I thought he was actually going to do it. Not going to lie.
I didn't think he was gonna do it because it had already, like, throughout the episode, it already sowed the seeds that Cody wasn't, like, he was in the Empire, but he wasn't pro Empire. He was just trying to help people. Because we see it when they come across the civilians in the city, he takes off his helmet and says, "Hey, we're here to help." Like, he's not like, "You insurgent scum, you will die." Like, more or less, I'm pretty sure what Crosshair was thinking.
Cross is like, not worth my time. Like, literally, it's like, not worth it. Not what I'm here for.
But it also, since it's called the Solitary Clone, I knew it was going to be more based around Crosshair than anything else. So when I saw Cody, like I told her she could live, I was like, Crosshair's probably going to execute her. That or that Imperial officer was going to.
Yeah, it's just it's like the turmoil between the two. It's just like not the turmoil, parallel. It's very interesting. I keep saying the same thing over and over.
I mean, that's nothing new for you, so.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, it's how I start topics, and I don't like to do that.
Yeah, that was a very eventful episode, and I really liked it. And I liked the change of pace to the next episode because we went from a very high action, high intensity episode to what some people, I guarantee you, are going to be like, "Oh, it's a filler episode."
Filler episode because it doesn't have like it
doesn't
doesn't have
push-
all of the freaking Bad Batch.
It doesn't push the plot, but it does because it gives us character development into Sid, into Tech, into Wrecker, and into Omega.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like
Echo and like Hunter were on their own mission.
yeah, they were doing something. But it was a nice change of pace because the first 3 episodes have all been like kind of high action. So having kind of like a more relaxed, just fun episode was nice. And we got pod racing back.
Yes.
But it was pod racing on steroids.
I'll say. I mean, you could call would you call Jabba's like Hut Cartel the black market? Because I feel like this was even more like dangerous than that.
Well,
in a sense.
pod racing in general is dangerous to everybody, the spectators and the participants. But no, this one, pod racing is perfectly legal. It's just like what goes on behind the scenes. But Jabba's was definitely more dangerous because it was the Hut Cartel. Like they had reach, as opposed to that one guy. He was actually like. He was honest and stood by his word. Omega was like, double or nothing. If we win, we get Sid. If you win, you get to keep Sid, and we'll pay you double. And
props to Omega for she's smart. She's becoming a tactician herself.
Mm-hmm. But when they inevitably won, he held up his end of the bargain. He didn't try and fight it. So like it's a lot more honest as where like if you did some backhand deals with the Hut cartel, they still might double cross you, and because it's the Huts, can't really trust a Hut.
Mm-hmm.
But it was nice to see. I keep saying it was nice to see. I'm realizing that.
See, that's your thing as well.
Today it's my thing. I don't know why.
Maybe I think because I say it a lot too.
Maybe it's because my brain is fried before I even work my long shift tomorrow. But seeing like we get that like really cocky droid that's like
Ben Schwartz, the amazing.
He's thinking he's the best thing ever. He can't do any wrong. And he's very much like a lot of droids are, where they're like, oh, we're better than the organics. Organics can't do what we do. And then Tech goes and proves him wrong entirely. I'm pretty sure the droid's just dead now.
The droid's now freaking fried.
But
I have...
Watch, he's going to show up in next week's episode.
Teo is okay.
Like,
what is it with Ben Schwartz playing like? That's a typecast for him, and I love it.
But I'd be lying if when I was sitting there watching it, if I didn't go, now this is pod racing.
Oh yeah.
Listen, that was my childhood.
No, it's also mine.
Oh.
I'm trying to think of that Duoden's name now. I'm searching him up.
I'm trying to think about more good things about that episode. Because it's a good episode. It's a nice change of pace. But again, I watched it days ago and I didn't rewatch it.
I literally watched it right before coming on. So
I've just been too busy with work. So it's like I watched it and I just haven't rewatched it because I've been too busy.
They have. I'm very excited to see more of mentioning of Sid's past.
I would like to see that, but not at the cost of losing development for the Bad Batch and their story.
Yeah.
Like seeing the consequences of Sid's past, yeah, I could, because it would,
or just like more learning about it.
Yeah, because that would definitely affect the Bad Batch, but I don't really want any episodes that are solely dedicated to their story if it takes away from the Bad Batch.
Grinny Malegi is his name. Malegi. Yeah, Grinny Malegi is his name.
Who?
The Duoden. The big guy.
Seeing that there are species out there that I guess don't even bother wanting to learn Galactic Basic was refreshing to see.
I had the captions on that episode, and I think he the language he was he's Nesorian, so and of course it said he's speaking Nesorian. Even that guy, he was pissed that he lost.
Oh yeah.
He grabbed his blaster as soon as like they left, and Malegi shoved him away.
Yeah,
that's I respect that.
If I remember correctly, that species that Malegi played was a legend species, or has only been seen a handful of times in canon. So seeing them again was nice.
We see it. Yeah, because that's the same species as the ninth sister.
Yeah,
and I think the other species is that I can think of in canon is in the High Republic. Panida. He's a Duoden. I don't know how to say that species.
That's it. I couldn't remember. My brain's fried. I apologize. I'm working too much.
You are completely fine. How do you pronounce this name?
I think it is Duoden.
You won't believe where they're from.
DeWoot.
Yep.
It's like having somebody like a Virginian and be like, "Where are you? You're Virginian. Where are you from?" Take a guess.
You know what they look like? I just realized they're like the Gorons of Star Wars.
Yeah, kind of.
It's very this is very
So,
interesting.
what did you think of the change of pod racing? Because the first time we see pod racing, it is literally just racing. But then we get to this type of pod racing where there are weapons and shields and all this other kinds of stuff on the that are on the pods themselves, but also on the track. What do you think?
I think it's a good. It felt more artificial because like that makes it a different from pod racing, makes pod racing and riot racing. It's just I think pod racing uses more of the natural terrain, while riot racing uses an actual track.
Mm-hmm.
I love. It's the never ending world building, universe, galaxy building of Star Wars. It makes sense. Yes.
I'm trying to remember that quote that Qui-Gon made where he was talking about pod racing on another planet and how it was a lot more dangerous than pod racing on Tatooine. I couldn't find anything because it's such an obscure quote. I didn't feel like apologies. I didn't feel like scrolling through IDBM or whatever it is through the script of the entire movie to try and find it.
I'm just gonna try looking up Qui-Gon pod racing.
I did, and it brings up him talking to Anakin about his him having Jedi-like reflexes in order to be a human that pod races. And if that's the case, then Tech has Jedi-like reflexes.
I feel like that's more the. Would you call that like ADHD midichlorians? Would you consider would being force sensitive be considered neurodivergent? Like actually, like this is a genuine question. Would you? It's like it's more common than you think, and it's like with being force sensitive, it's a lot more common than you think. So is ADHD in our terms.
Yeah. It depends on the severity. I think it depends on the severity of like being force sensitive. If it's if you're on like a Jedi level, then I would say no, it wouldn't be neurodivergent because you intake and process information just like anybody else, and your brain doesn't negatively affect it. But if it's like just a little bit, but to the point where you can't like tell the different, like tell if it's the Force or something, like. Trying to think of a good character. We'll say Han Solo just for because he's technically force sensitive, but not in the fact that he can like do extraordinary things. His reflexes are just a little bit better than a regular person's. So like that I don't think that would qualify as neurodivergent. But like if it's like affecting like how you think in like I guess you could say a negative manner, then maybe. But I'm not qualified to talk on like what is not neurodivergent and what's not, because I still barely grasp the concept of what neurodivergent is. Because I understand what it is, but I still don't grasp what it is because that's my ADHD, just like not wanting to understand it. It's like, yeah, no, we get called out enough on a daily basis. We're not going to get called out more.
Yes, I 100% agree. That's what makes this more fun. Makes this fun is the fact that you can like apply real world concepts to sci-fi and see if they
Mm-hmm.
and just see if they work. Like,
Yeah.
I think another example of that could be Poe as well. That's why he's so good at flying, because he's like he has that much force sense, like that little force sensibility to know where to accurately shoot and know when to turn, know when to fly.
I think it's more that he's just a really skilled pilot because of years and years and years and years of flying.
I thought I read somewhere like that he was.
So technically everybody is force sensitive because, to quote Obi-Wan, the force surrounds us, penetrates us, and lives within inside of us. So everyone is force sensitive. It's just to what degree are you force sensitive? Because if you are of a high degree, then you can actually like manipulate things with your mind and with the force and all of that. But if you're like I'll say like mid degree, it just gives you like heightened reflexes. And then there's just like low degree to where like it just doesn't affect you at all. It's like
Affects everyone differently.
But like you can still have like really, really good reflexes and not be force sensitive. Because I think Poe, before he joined the Resistance, I think he had been flying longer than Han had. Han was just naturally skilled at flying because of his force sensitivity. And so he's like always seen as like a better pilot than Poe, but Poe was actually like through like pure skill as a pilot. Because remember, he was a spice runner before he joined the Resistance. So he had to have a lot of fancy flying there.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially with maneuvering.
Yeah, and light
and that does come into play.
Light speed skipping.
Oh yeah, I want to look at that more. It's like, yeah, so, it's literally
what light speed skipping is. I'm having to reach into the deep recesses of my mind to remember this.
You don't have to you don't like plot in any courses of coordinates. You're just jumping.
No. So in order to go into hyperspace, you have to have a calculated route. And the way I understand it, there's two different methods of light speed skipping. There is, let's say you have point A and you have point B. And you jump into hyperspace, but then you drop out at a random point. So you come back into the real dimension, because hyperspace is its own dimension, mind you. Mm-hmm. And then you hop back in to hyperspace and drop out again, then jump back in and drop back out. Just doing that repeatedly until you get to your destination or until your ship blows up. And then the other way is
it's like pit stops.
The other way that I understand it is you plot your course, but then you plan you plot these stops along the way to where you're not having to think about the dropout. The ship does it for you. You do some fancy flying to lose some tails, and you jump back into hyperspace.
That makes more sense. It's. I feel like it wouldn't be considered. What? Because like if it's like that, it would be. I think it would be more. Oh, you're just plotting plotting your coordinates is just to the rest stop rather than plotting it where you're going to go, but have these planned. I wouldn't doubt if it did happen, but that I think.
Well, it's not really used to like break off a pursuit like how we see in the Rise of Skywalker. It's just those TIE fighters were equipped with hyperspeed tracking, so they could literally track them through hyperspace. It's just
that's terrifying.
Yeah, what it's meant to do is traditional methods of tracking through hyperspace is like, let's say you're on Tatooine and you want to go to Naboo, but you're being pursued. You jump to hyperspace, so you got away. But then the enemy can sit there and be like, okay, what are all known stops along this vector? And then they can calculate based off of your direction and your speed and like your like all these other like direction, speed, orientation, all that kind of stuff, and pretty accurately predict where you're going to come out, and then they will go and follow you. Obviously, the First Order had like actual hyperspace tracking where they got like a pinpoint precision where you're gonna drop out at. But in the older ways, it would be just to throw off like the people pursuing you when they're like, okay, if he's going Kashyyyk to Nar Shaddaa, he's gonna have to go this way. But then if you plane, like let's say it's a straight line, and you want to throw them off, you just plan a bunch of different stops along the way that will make it to where they can't accurately predict where you're going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's like a one-way fucking hyperspace routes. Like, the Kessel Run.
Oh, yeah.
The hyperlane to Kessel. Kessel's the only thing out there. There's nothing else out there. So if you're heading that direction, they can predict exactly where you're going to go. But if you're going, like if you have a major hyperlane and there's a ton of different planets, you can just light speed skip to a different planet, hide out on, and then go to where you need to go. Or light speed skip to just throw off their sensors because they're trying to track you and then they can't.
Alrighty.
I just looked at the time. I love how me talking about light speed skipping took up a good majority of our show.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine.
Because we were just rambling about the other two episodes because, like, it was so good, but like talking points, there wasn't too much to it.
Yeah, it's like the first. It's taking its time. Like
I feel like in the next few episodes we might get a major gut punch that'll like not necessarily like trauma gut punch, but just like throw us for a loop and it's like, what?
Yeah, it's like a lot of shows. I feel like go this like with some shows you don't know what time, like how many days have passed since with that. It's like it's taking its time where it feels like everything feels the same, but we don't know exactly how long it's been since the last episode.
Yeah, I kind of like again, there I go with I kind of like, but how man, I wish we had an editor to where like if this wasn't shot live to where we could just put a little counter in the bottom of the screen, like whenever we say something is ting ting ting, and we can see how many times we say it throughout a show.
Just like someone should make a freaking like Sundari broadcast out of context, or just compilations of either like me rambling off because of ADHD, or just like
we'll get Shane to do that. He wants to do a weekday episodes. He can do that.
Yeah, that Shane.
No,
wherever you are.
But
I'm drinking nothing. Oh shit.
I mean that's like that. My cup's empty now. So
see, add that to the see. That's a clip worthy compilation worthy clip.
But I'm liking a lot how the show is like having its high action moments, but it's still like taking its time building up to something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like we're getting a lot of clues to what's going to happen. We don't like I can't even begin to speculate what's going to happen this season. But another show that's doing that, and I love that it's doing this, is the Last of Us TV show that came out on HBO Max.
I
last
still need to
weekend.
see that. I think I just need to look at a video of like gameplays of both games first before going into that.
You don't really, because it's more or less shot for shot um, of the game. There's
Really?
something that they change, some things they change, some things they add, but they're not trying to do their own thing. They're just trying, like, they're doing their own thing, but at the same time they're staying faithful to the source material.
Heck yes.
They're not pulling a Halo TV show where it's like, hey, here's all this lore and all this stuff you can base the TV show off, and they're not doing that.
Here, take Master Chief's helmet off.
Yeah, no. We're not talking about that. We're talking about The Last of Us.
I coming from a guy that hasn't seen either.
The first episode is like 90 minutes long. It's a full-length film, basically.
Oh, hell yes.
But what it does is it gets the setup to before, like, what would be before the game, and gets you into like the first act of the game. It, like, if you were looking like game to show, that's how it would be. Is like you get some pre-game, some new, never before seen stuff that will take place before the game starts, and you get to where, like, right after you set out on the adventure. And it's just a nice slow build up, and it's like, I already know how The Last of Us ends, but I'm excited for each episode so I can see how they put their spin on, like, how HBO is going to put their spin on it. Because also, Pedro Pascal is just chef's kiss. He's an amazing actor. This may be a hot take, but I think he's the next Ewan McGregor when it comes to amazing actors.
You know, yes, it's
or like the next David Tennant. He's like one of those actors that it doesn't matter what he's in, it will be good for the sole fact that he's in it. Or like his role will be really good. Like the rest of the show or movie might be trash, but his particular section will be really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool to see that almost every role he's taken in the past few years have been like a parental figure role.
He actually, yeah, David. I was about to say, yeah. Oh, well, for David Tennant as well. Both of them do. Sorry, I lost myself for a second. I was watching a show the other day, and David Tennant did actually voice a parental character. So yeah, they both work. I'm very excited to see. Don't know what I was gonna say.
While we're on the topic of Pedro Pascal, Mandalorian season 3 trailer. Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts?
Well, I think we already did talk about this first. I think I'm talking about this with Shane, analyzing it. They made a statue out of IG-11 or IG-88, whatever his name.
That might have been the old trailer, because this is a new trailer that's come out in like the last week.
No, that same frame was in there.
Yeah, they might have put it in the new trailer, but
that's what I'm saying. I was like, I've already talked about it on the show with Shane, I think.
I don't know. They released a trailer this week for it.
Yes.
So I don't know when you were able to talk to Shane about it on the show.
No, when they were showing previews of it. We literally like hyper analyzed the preview.
I saw that new trailer, and
did you see Sundari freaking eradicated?
That is Imperial propaganda. We are perfectly fine here on Sundari.
Yeah, we're fine. But like,
there is no war in Sundari.
Oh yeah, welcome to Ba Sing Se. But just like, look at how decimation the town was. Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be interesting because there's a lot of predictions, and some of them I agree with, some of them I don't. One of them is that Din is going to find a new vein of Beskar under Sundari. And that's how he will reclaim his title as a Mandalorian.
I feel like they would have already discovered that. Having a new, like, if that were to happen.
But also, here's the thing: is every bit of Beskar you see in The Mandalorian is not new Beskar. It is old. Because in Mandalorian tradition, the armor is passed down generation to generation to generation. It's not like, hey, you're turning 12. Let's go down to the Walmart and get you a pair of Beskar armor.
And now that I'm 10, I can finally catch my new Pokemon, Beskar.
It's Sabine even said it in Rebels.
Just thinking that.
It is their armor is their history, the history of their clan, of their family. So it's passed down. And what the Empire did after they fucking eradicated the Mandalorians is they went through and they collected all of the Beskar.
Mm-hmm.
And they used it for their own like profit and all that other stuff. And even when Mandalore was still fine and around during the Clone Wars, they weren't actively mining Beskar because they were pacifists. They had no need for new amounts of Beskar. So it's completely possible that there is an undiscovered vein of Beskar under Sundari or under Mandalore somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I know we've talked about this in the past when we were doing predictions for season 3, that Din is going to have to fight Bo-Katan because she wants the Darksaber, and she wholly believes there's a curse on the Darksaber that if you don't win it in battle, that it'll bring great ruin to you and to Mandalore.
I wonder how she knows that. Ha 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 ha
ha. But it's going to be interesting because in the one shot we did see in like the early trailers of season 3, she was sitting on a throne, a destroyed throne. But also, is Din gonna unite Mandalore? Is he going to take up the title of Mandalore? I'm curious to see how he's gonna do things.
We talked about that. I remember you and I both talked about our predictions on looking at the preview of him grouping together Mandalorians. Summit, that was the word. Grouping together Mandalorian Summit. The topic. Do you think that he's grouping up more people of the not the Watch?
Children of the Watch?
Children of the Watch, yeah.
I do not. I don't think he is. For the sole fact that to other Mandalorians, they are viewed as crazy extremists and a cult. Yeah. I think he's just found other Mandalorians that survived the Purge. And when he shows up with the Darksaber, they are like, oh, shit. This man means business.
Mm-hmm. Because they're scattered.
Yeah. He said our people are scattered, broken. I think he says broken. I don't remember. But he's trying to bring them together. I know that. I can tell that much, but in what capacity is the question.
That's too small for an arm.
But
granted,
also,
granted, we've seen like not legions, but just militia of that size of Mandalorians because we know their strength. However, it's just.
But also, here's the thing: is like Yeah, if Mandalorians was a race of people, yeah, I could be like, I could understand, like, yeah, that's not enough to like take back, like, to do any real damage or wage a war. But that's the thing about Mandalorians is it's not a race, it's a creed and it's a people.
It's a
It's a
warrior status.
mindset. It's like any species, anybody can be a Mandalorian, but they are very traditional people in the sense like if your great grandfather moved to Mandalore and became a Mandalorian, if your family stayed there, you are a Mandalorian. You can always leave, but you will still be of Mandalore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, my cat is being needy right now.
So which one's that? Is that a Hella
That
or
is
Freya?
that is a little bit.
Little bit.
Hala knows not to bug me when I'm on the computer.
Another thing of the trailer I want to point out. Grogu.
What about him?
He's yeah, his powers are getting stronger.
Well, that's part of growing up.
Yeah. He's just in his hover. He's just in his hover stroller, and then just pushes a random guy trying to kill him. It's just very funny seeing him be pushed, seeing the guy be pushed out of the way, and then just a baby come out of the shadows.
But also, Grogu is older than Din.
Yeah, still a baby in his terms.
Yes.
But that I want to see more. I think we're going to see more of even though he's very young, he's going to dip into the dark side a lot. I feel like.
I don't know if he's going to dip into the dark side or just use the Force. Because
dip in the dark side is like it's just giving into temptation. That's more of
it's giving into unadulterated emotion and not controlling it, because
his brain is like
the Jedi are not prohibited from emotions. They're prohibited from letting their emotions control them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're allowed to love and all of this other stuff, but
they just need to keep in mind that this stuff happens.
Like they can't let that emotion control them, because then that is an attachment. It's weird. The old Jedi are very weird with how they view things, because like Jedi are not celibate at all. They can go out and they can have a good time every day after work, with any woman they want, basically, or man or droid or whatever, because it's a galaxy far, far away. But they're not allowed to have attachments. Because if we look at the bastard Ki-Adi-Mundi, he had a family. He had like 3 wives and some daughters, like 9 daughters.
Oh yeah, he did have 9 daughters. Yeah,
but that's like
his species was dying out.
Well, it's because like not a lot of males get born into his species. So him being a male was a rarity. So he had like an obligation to his species to procreate. But when they were attacked by the Separatists, he didn't give 2 shits. Because he took the no attachment thing to the nth degree.
Yet still worried about the droid attack on the Wookiees. Ta-da!
Ki-Adi-Mundi, everybody.
What a way to end this episode.
Bastard Ki-Adi-Mundi.
I keep thinking now of like someone, like an artist I know that just they loathe Ki-Adi.
I know a lot of people that don't like Ki-Adi-Mundi. But that is all the time that we have for today. Today's episode has been kind of just all over the place. But that's okay. We roll with it and we have fun with it. We will try to be back next Saturday at 7, like always. My work schedule's just been kind of crazy, so that's why I'm saying we might be back. If not,
I won't be able to. I will be in town. Wait a minute. I think I will be actually. Hold on. I will catch you up on that. So,
well, we can talk about that after the show during the week or whatever. But I have an unbelievably long shift at work tomorrow, so I have to go be a reasonable adult. So we're gonna wrap this up.
I will be able to.
Cool. But thank you guys for watching. Have a great week and a great rest of your weekend. May the force be with you always.
Good night.